This video series is my 4 favorite tips for running form. Now these tips aren't unique to me. There's a lot of different people out there and organizations that teach running form, chi running, pose running, and I've gotten a lot of these tips from them. Even Golden Harper of Alter Shoes, a lot of these tips are things that I learned from him. So the first one we're going to talk about is running posture. And the cues I like to give people for this is to make sure that you really run proud and tall. So when you're trying to get into that forward lean that we need for running, you want to feel like your chest and your hips are leading you down the road this way, as opposed to being bent forward more at the waist here, or kind of running back like this. So always think when you start running is to run really proud and really tall. The number 2 tip of my 4 favorite running tips is using compact arms when you run. So a lot of people when they run, they waste a lot of energy just swinging their arms back and forth. If you look at more elite runners, they tend to have very compact arms. In fact, a good cue is to actually bring your wrists almost right to your rib cage. A lot of people will call this you almost having like chicken wings. And if you are going to pump your arms, if you're running hard, pump your arms back as opposed to pumping them forward and getting a whole lot of rotation. So compact arms, wrists to the rib cage like this, squeeze your shoulder blades back, keep that proud posture that we talked about in the first tip. So often I'll call this running like a proud chicken. Number 3 tip of my 4 favorite running form tips is to have a high cadence when you run. All the research shows that this is a really big factor in reducing impact through your knees, your feet, and all your joints in your legs. So try to, and a lot of times you're going to need a watch or something to measure this, and you can also use metronomes, but try to run a little quicker and faster steps than you're used to running. And if you're running fast, like a 7-minute mile, then that's about 180 steps a minute. If you're running an 8-minute mile, it's about 175, 9-minute mile, 170 and down. So just think to yourself, a little bit higher cadence than you're used to, a little bit quicker steps, and you'll have a lot less impact through your body when you're running. Tip number 4 of my 4 favorite tips for running form is to make sure you land with your feet bent, with your knees bent, and with your feet underneath of you. So when you're running, you're going to be in that compact arms, lean forward, quick cadence, and those feet are going to want to come down right underneath of you as opposed to being out in front of you with your knee always straight and with your foot in this what we call a check mark position. And when you do this, you'll find that again, you'll have a lot less impact going up through your body when that feet is when you're landing with that knee bent, you're using your whole leg then as a shock absorber. So think to yourself when you're running, run a little bit quieter, run a little bit softer. Keep that cadence up. When you're running and you look down, you shouldn't see your feet. If you do, you're definitely overstriding.